Today, I'm going to talk about the Enlightened One. In the history of mankind, there is a great teacher who is called the Enlightened One. I'm talking about Buddha, whose another name was the Enlightened One. Buddha appeared in such a time which is about 500 years back of Jesus. So it is 2500 years back. And you have to remember when he's a very ancient one, 2500 years ago, I'm talking about. Whereas Islam has a history of 1400 years. So, and another thing, Gautam Buddha appeared and he taught people in the region of, it's like Indian region. He was born in Nepal, and his walking area, his coverage, the area he walked in his entire life is called Magadh. And Magadh is actually the northern side of India. Gautam Buddha is a very discussed one because of his philosophy. His philosophy about non-hatred, non-violence influenced many. Among them, the most prominent one is Mahatma Gandhi, who arrived and departed in 19th century and actually built the fate of the Indian subcontinent. His way of opposing the British imperialism was non-violence, and of course it was inspired by Gautam Buddha. If you see the movie Gandhi, in a very simple way, if you see the movie Gandhi, you can say that when British soldiers were marching in their horse, the people who followed Gandhi, they just lied down on the earth, flat earth. The horses didn't march over them. What I'm talking about is the idea of non-violence and coexistence and sustainability. And of course about good conduct. These are the core messages of Buddha's teaching. Now let me share you one story. You all know about the King Ashok, the great Ashok. At the end of his life, he was holding one amlaki in his hand, and he asked his minister that, tell me what I own, what I have in this world. And his minister told him that you own everything from the Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal. You own everything. You are the master of the world. And he said, no, I only own this simple amlaki and nothing else. And what made this radical change in this person? This is the same person who actually slaughtered, who created a war where around 1 lakh people was dead in one single day. And this person was telling that the only thing that I own in this world is this amlaki. What transformed him? Actually, Ashoka was a greedy, savage, power-hungry prince or king like anybody else. He did great wars and he saw great bloodbath. At the end of a war, the realization came to him. I don't know what was the incident. Maybe something. There is a saying that a very close person of him was dead. And looking at that dead body, it came to him. The idea of non-violence, the greatest idea since the starting of fire and the invention of wheel, the idea of non-violence appeared to him. And Ashoka dedicated his entire life for spreading of this idea. He sent missions far abroad, far away, and invited people to his ideas. He made many knowledge-based university-like structures, taught people, and he also established the first zoo. The zoo is not about caging wild tiger, it's not about caging elephant. He made the first zoo about collecting the tormented animals who are neglected, the domesticated animals who are tortured, who get humiliation from humans. He made the first animal welfare structure and established that in India. His idea was non-violence and coexistence and sustainability and mostly good conduct. Now I'm sorry if I gave a history lesson that seems boring to you, maybe you already know. I have to come to the point or I am just initiating the idea why I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the idea of non-violence and the Buddhist philosophy. This book is called Buddha. It's wrote by Jeannine Auboyer. As you can see, he was the former chief curator of the Gimit Museum in Paris. No wonder this is a person who has made high level of research about the life of Buddha, and he wrote very strong points, very concise, clear and specific points about this philosophy. Let me read you some excerpts from this book. This is a story of the Indian prince who over 2005 years ago abandoned the life of luxury and pleasure to find the one imperishable thing in this evanescent and pain-filled life. In midlife, at the end of a long spiritual search, Siddhartha Gautama underwent the experience in which he became the Buddha or the Enlighted One. Thereafter, Shakyamuni, as he came to be called, spent 40 years of wandering, during which he preached the good law and the Four Noble Truths and founded a community of disciples. The final chapter of the book deals with the development and spread of Buddhism with its various schools and countless adherents up to the present day. This book is a beautiful description of the life of Buddha. The contents are like the social and religious situation in India. Number 2, Buddha's conception, birth. Number 3, the great departure to illumination. Number 4, preaching of the Buddha. Number 5, the road to nirvana. And number 6, evolution and expansion of Buddhism. Now, let me be specific. I am not here to promote Buddhism. I'm here to tell you that to know religion, to know human philosophy, to know the history of this subcontinent, you have to know about the Buddhist ideology. As he was a great teacher and he spread good message which is common to every religion, you can very well know about his life. And the ideas of all the religions are actually very related, very relevant and similar. These are all about non-violence. These are all about caring about the animals, about your neighbors, about people. These are all about not hurting anyone without any particular reason. These are all about peaceful coexistence. So this is also the same lesson of Buddha. And he is a dramatic life, He was born as a prince and he left his princehood. He left the empire. He left his kingdom only to know the ultimate truth, only to know how can a human being avoid pain in his life. And after a long journey, he got his nirvana. Nirvana means he got something that will not be born again. He became free. There is a faith in Hindu and Buddha religion. Another thing, I mentioned the word Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni is also a name given by the Hindu scholars to Gautam Buddha. Actually, they adopted him as a Shakyamuni. They adopted his religion as part of the great Hindu learnings and lessons. They accepted Gautam Buddha in them, but Gautam Buddha is actually a separate spirit. He taught a different, a new philosophy, the history of non-violence. Anyway, he found 4 noble truths, by which I am ending my video. And think the noble truths are: any object of attachment is pain. Birth, old age, illness, death, union, separation, desire. The end of suffering is reached through the total suppression of desire, leaving no room for it in the depth of behavior. Through this way, one reaches right understanding, right thought, right action, right livelihood, right concentration, and so on. So, it's a very good read. It's a very good read about the philosophy of this subcontinent people. It's a very good read about when you see or tour a place and see the great Buddha monuments, and at least have some idea actually who he was. I know many of you visit China, Thailand, Malaysia, and many places, Indonesia, Philippines, and Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. You find many monuments about Gautam Buddha. It was a great thing once upon a time before Islam appeared here. And just to know about that idea, just to explore more, you can read this book. If you want to read about Buddha, it's a very good book that I'm recommending to you. Again, I'm not here to preach about religion. I'm just telling you to expand your horizon. Thank you.